Welcome to SOUMYA'S biology classes. The main aim of my coaching is to make the students feel that biology is purely a conceptual subject rather than simply a memorizing one. In this lecture, I will be explaining the structure of the human kidney. Kidneys are bean-shaped, paired organs located in the back of the abdominal cavity in the dorsal side of the body, one on each side of the vertebral column. An adult human kidney is about 10 to 12 centimeter in length, 5 to 7 centimeter in width, and 2 to 3 centimeter in thickness with an average weight of 120 to 170 gram. Each kidney has about 1.2 million nephrons or uriniferous tubules which filters the blood and produces urine. Nephrons are the structural and functional units of kidney. Now let us see the structure of the kidney. The lateral surface of the kidney is convex while the medial surface is concave and it has a depression in the middle called the hilum, through which renal artery, renal vein, nerves, ureter enter and exit the kidney. Kidney is externally covered by a dense, fibrous connective tissue capsule called the renal capsule or the fibrous capsule. So this is the renal capsule or the fibrous capsule. The renal capsule is surrounded by a mass of fatty tissue which is called the adipose capsule. আমি কিছুটা অংশ দেখাচ্ছি. So the renal capsule is surrounded by a mass of fatty tissue which is called the adipose capsule. This is the adipose capsule. The adipose capsule is surrounded by a thin layer of dense irregular connective tissue which is called the renal fascia. So this is the renal fascia which anchors the kidney to the abdominal wall. Internally, the kidney is differentiated into two parts. The outer peripheral part is called the renal cortex. So this is the outer peripheral part. The outer peripheral part is called the renal cortex. So this is the renal cortex. The term renal refers to kidney. Renal cortex has a dotted or granular appearance due to the presence of renal corpuscle and proximal and distal convoluted tubules of nephrons. This inner region is called the renal medulla. So this is the renal medulla. In the renal medulla, conical or pyramid-shaped structures are present. In the renal medulla, conical or pyramid-shaped structures are present. These conical or pyramid-shaped structures which are present in the renal medulla, they are called renal pyramids. because they are present within the kidney. They are also called medullary pyramids because they are present in the medulla region of the kidney. Their number varies from 7 to 18 in each kidney. Now, this is the base of the medullary pyramid and this is the apex or tip of the medullary pyramid. The base of the medullary pyramid is in contact with the cortex, while the apex, it projects into the medulla. The apex or tip of the medullary pyramid is called renal papilla. This is called the renal papilla. Medullary pyramids have a striated appearance. These striations are due to the presence of lupofenlae and collecting ducts of nephrons. So the medullary pyramids, they have a striated appearance. The cortex, it projects into the medulla in the space between two adjacent medullary pyramids. These projections of the cortex in the space between two adjacent medullary pyramids form column-like structures, and these column-like structures, they are called renal columns or columns of Bartini. They are called renal columns or columns of Bartini. Each of the medullary pyramid, they open into a small tubule. Each of the medullary pyramid, they open into a small tubule which is called the minor calyx. So this is the minor calyx. Now 2 to 3 adjacent minor calyx, they join together. 2 to 3 adjacent minor calyx, they join together and form a larger structure called the major calyx. So this is the major calyx, formed by the union of 2 to 3 minor calyces. All the major calyx, they join together and continue into a structure called the renal pelvis. This is the renal pelvis that come out of the hilum of the kidney. The renal pelvis, it extends downward. This downward extension of the renal pelvis is called ureter. So this is the ureter. Renal artery supplies oxygenated blood to the kidney and renal vein collects deoxygenated blood from the kidney. This is the renal artery. It supplies oxygenated blood to the kidney. What does the kidney do? It filters the blood, and the purified blood comes out of the kidney through the renal vein. So this is the renal vein. Renal artery is a branch of the aorta. So renal artery, it is a branch of the aorta. This is the aorta. The aorta, it branches to form two renal arteries, one for each kidney. So this is the aorta. The renal vein, it joins with the inferior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava that drains the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium of the heart. This is the inferior vena cava, IVC. It carries deoxygenated blood to the right atrium of the heart, to heart. And the aorta, it brings oxygenated blood from the heart. So from heart. Now let us see some diagrams. These are the kidneys. The right kidney is placed slightly lower than the left kidney because of the presence of liver on the right side, which displaces the right kidney downwards. The kidneys, they are protected by the last two pairs of ribs, the 11th and the 12th pair, which are called floating ribs. This is the diagrammatic representation of the kidney, and this is the actual structure of the kidney. The outer peripheral part is called the renal cortex. This inner region is called the renal medulla. In the medulla, conical or pyramid shaped structures are present, which are called renal pyramids or medullary pyramids. This is the minor calyx. This is the major calyx. These are the renal columns or the columns of Bartini. These are projections of the cortex into the medulla in the space between two adjacent medullary pyramids. The outermost covering of the kidney is called the fibrous capsule or the renal capsule. This is the renal pelvis. This is the hilum. The tip of each medullary pyramid is called the renal papilla, and this is the ureter. These are the medullary pyramids or renal pyramids. This is the renal pelvis. This is the major calyx. This is the minor calyx. This is the renal papilla. And this is the outermost covering of the kidney, which is called the fibrous capsule or the renal capsule. এখানে একটা কিডনিকে ডিসেক্ট করে দেখানো হয়েছে. The outermost covering is called the renal capsule. This region is called the renal cortex. This is the minor calyx. This is the major calyx. This is the renal artery that supplies oxygenated blood to the kidney. This is the renal vein that collects deoxygenated blood from the kidney. This is the renal pelvis, and this structure is called the ureter.